And welcome back everyone to the recap of round number 10 of the European Chess Championship. If you've seen my game yesterday, it was quite upsetting, so I was today very ambitious to come back after that. I played against the Polish international master Aleksander Hnydiuk. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. I had the white pieces, so let's see what happens. Today I played e4. I was feeling more in an aggressive mood, at least to try and get like more of a fighting game, because I feel like in this tournament overall I've played quite just way too safe in general, and in general if I want to improve, which I want, I should definitely play some more just fighting chess in general, I think. He played e5 and knight f3, knight f6. He plays the Petroff. Also in this tournament, he already had a couple of games there. And I did have this idea, which I played in the game, but overall, yeah, he's actually very well prepared and quite a solid player. So I went for this line d4. Of course, the main line is knight e5, d6. And here he had a couple of games. I think he had two games in this line, d4, d5, bishop d3. But he even goes for the main line, bishop d6. Which, yeah, it's just quite dry. I mean, you could try and look for some ideas here, but if the opponent knows it, then it's simply nothing. So I wanted to surprise him with this line with d4. Of course, he still knew this. I mean, d4 is still quite a big move. Knight takes e4, and now bishop d3, which is, apart from d takes e5, the only move, basically. So the point is, I'm attacking black's knight, and he more or less has to go d5. There is also this funny looking move knight c6 here, which also has gotten quite some popularity. The point is, if bishop e4, there's d5, and black will gain back the piece. So he went for d5, now knight takes e5, knight d7, and here I went for the line with short castle, which is, I also think, quite rare. Probably the most dangerous line, and maybe I should have also gone for that, is knight c3. When after knight c3, bishop c3, knight e5, d5, we get this structure when white does have some chances to play here with f4, f5. But there is also the line, I think it's here, bishop e7, or no, bishop d6, which is very solid for black, and it's also not so easy to generate anything here. Also bishop b4 is one big move, which is also leads to quite forcing play. So I went for this line short castle, knight e5, d5, now knight c5, kind of the main move. Otherwise, I have ideas also to take on e4. So he went knight c5 and now bishop e3. And here he started to think a little bit. I think bishop e3 is already quite rare. By number of games, I believe that bishop e2 is the main move, not letting black take on d3. But the idea with the bishop e3 is simply that white just says, I don't care if you take on d3. And if he takes on d3, then white in general is going to play for the dark squares. He went for c6, which is still all right. And after f4, he went g6, which is, I think, not the best approach. Probably it's best for him to take on d3 probably right away. And then, or in the game, like after c6, f4, now to take. And now after queen takes d3, only now to go g6. Anyway, in the game, we got something quite similar, but I did have some extra options along the way. And here, there is this nice idea, knight d2 is what I prepared. Bishop f5, and now it's important to include queen b3. That's actually quite instructive, because if white goes queen c3 right away, then black has c5. Now white cannot take because of rook c8, when white will lose the piece. And otherwise e6 here will not do anything because white can simply go d4. This is important, as we're going to see it now. So the point is, white goes queen b3 here. And if black goes queen d7, then queen c3 is the whole point. So I think this is quite a nice idea. And now c5 doesn't work because of e6 when black's queen is hanging. Of course, this is also playable for black still. He should go bishop g7 when it's just kind of a game. Yeah, that's how it is. And also here, white will try to play for the dark squares. Now I'm just thinking, is there some bishop c5? Maybe it was not exactly here, but in general, it led to some sort of setup like this. Also, white will go something like knight f3, often bishop h4, bishop f2, bishop h4 is an idea, even though that is more often an idea with the bishop still being on e7. But in general, as I said, white wants to play for the dark squares. So, but instead he went for the move for the g6, and now I still knew that knight d2 is quite nice here, because now white says, I don't care if you take, now I will take cd. And now the knight will reach either f3 or b3. I think that's also the main reason why If black takes here, now c takes d3 doesn't work as well, because I think there's bishop f5, when now this knight cannot reach b3 or f3 because opponent d3 is hanging. And also knight c3 doesn't work because of d4. So I think that's kind of the main difference here. So after g6, knight d2, he didn't take. He played bishop e7. Now I went knight f3 here. I did spend some time. I was also thinking about other ideas like knight b3 I thought could be interesting. With the idea that now after knight d3 again, I want to take cd, when I think that I have probably quite a nice positional bind, because it's just important that he doesn't get c5 and d4, but here, to me at least, it seems like he doesn't, and after short castle I can go for something bishop c5 perhaps is also an idea, or simply to play it slow. And as long as black doesn't get these pawns rolling, white should have a nice positional advantage. But after knight b3, I wasn't quite sure about knight a4, which is kind of a typical idea in the Petroff, when white's pieces are a little bit awkward, opponent b2 is hanging, and I was thinking about rook b1 here, but I wasn't quite sure. I mean, there are also ideas like castle and f5, so it might be interesting, but I wasn't entirely sure. It looks a little bit strange to put the rook on b1 like this. But now I'm just seeing that knight b3 is actually a good move, so that would have been another option. Instead I went knight f3, which is going more along with my preparation, basically, where I always also put the knight to f3. He went short castle, and now I went c3, which in hindsight, I mean, I'm getting a position which I anyway prepared more or less, but maybe just in general the preparation was not so smart, because the position that comes is, I thought that it's enough for me to generate chances, but as we will see in the game, it was not so hard for black to neutralize my threats, basically. Also, instead of c3, now I wasn't sure, like I wanted to get this position with cd3, but I didn't see like how I could make it work so well, because I was thinking about moves like queen e2, for example, as well, to get queen f2, but now I thought he can take, and after cd get c5, and then d4 will come, and I wasn't quite sure about this here. Same with other moves like king h1 or something like that, and I thought he can always take, and after cd has c5. So yeah, I was also thinking about bishop e2 here, which then will lead to some similar lines to the line with earlier bishop e2, but it also didn't seem like so much for me. I also never really want to go back. He can then put the knight to e4 again in some cases, so that's why it just looked a little bit passive to me. So I went c3 with the idea of preparing bishop c2 now, and now he took, because otherwise I will go back when black is probably in some trouble. So he took, and now he went f6, which is kind of a typical way to play in the center for black. The other option is to go bishop f5, when I was thinking about either queen d2 or queen e2. And another idea for black is to try and get c5 somehow, like to put the queen to e6, for example, and get c5 like this. But it's not so easy to get it, because the pawn on d5 will always also become quite weak. Another idea is to just put the bishop to e4, now with the queen on d2, here I was thinking about some ideas like knight d4 also, but in general with the queen on e2, then I always have ideas with knight d2, just kicking out the bishop from e4. But he went f6, and now I went bishop d4, maybe not entirely necessary. I could have also just taken here, and after bishop f6, now to go bishop c5, because anyway, in the game I got the bishop to e5, but it's not entirely clear actually what it's doing there. It looks nice, but it's also kind of in my own way. Maybe it would have been better to take here and then go bishop c5, ask the black rook where it's going, probably to e8, and then to continue something like rook e1. But also here I thought the bishop will go to f5 and e4, and it didn't seem like much is going on here as well. So I went bishop d4, he took, bishop takes e5, queen b6 check, and now I went king h1. So this was a pawn sacrifice, but in the end he didn't take. I thought this would be possible, but my idea was knight d4, and I thought this is quite dangerous. Computer says 0-0 here with moves like rook f7 and so on, but the queen is a bit out of play, and I have the idea with f5. Let's just say black makes no move at all, plays a6, then I thought f5 is working quite well. And if bishop f5, knight f5, rook f5, now g takes f5, I thought is just running into queen g3, queen g7. I thought that's too dangerous. And if he takes here on a1, I was thinking about this rook f1, queen a2, and now queen h3, I thought in general is kind of the key move here. Now I'm threatening queen e6, and if d4, I thought I have queen h6 in general, when there's there is a queen g7 coming, and if bishop f8, I have rook f8, and then queen g7 checkmate. So that was kind of my calculation here. I'm not sure if I missed anything, but I think this looks quite good overall. So yeah, I thought this is quite dangerous overall. Also, if bishop f5, then I thought I can take and go rook b1 and take on b7 next. So apparently the computer is holding it somehow, rook f7 or some ideas like that, but it seemed quite dangerous, at least practically speaking. So I went bishop f5, I went queen d2 back, and now a5, so he's just trying to gain space on the queen side and also stopping b4 from my side. I went knight d4, queen d8, and now I went a4. My idea was to fix the pawn on a5, which I thought could be weak in some cases if I get bishop c7 as well. I think here was kind of the biggest chance I missed with knight takes f5, which was kind of my original intention as well, and after rook f5 to go g4, but I wasn't entirely sure where exactly my pawns are going. I mean, it's clear that I want to get f5, but yeah, now that I look at it, it looks very, very active for white and not so easy for black, but somehow during the game I rejected it in the end. But this would have been by far the best chance. Even if I go something like rook e1 here, I will still probably have a much better version compared to the game. Because this pawn on g4 is actually not such a weakness. My king is quite safe, and it's quite important that I gain some space on the king side. So I went a4, which is just way too calm. Now he went queen d7, and now also I took on f5, which I thought that I still have some chances here because of the weak pawn on a5. But it's simply nothing special for me. Instead, if rook e1, I wasn't entirely sure about bishop e4. When, yeah, now that he has the queen on d7, there is no more knight e6. And I wasn't sure how to continue here. f5 was my original idea, with some ideas like queen h6 often, which is dangerous. But I thought that bishop h4 is quite annoying for me to face when I'm not sure where I'm even going with my rook. So after bishop e4, then I didn't really see how exactly to continue here. There was another idea in this position, which was b4. I'm not sure if this is any good at all. Yeah, it's possible, but again, after bishop e4, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing here. The idea is just to stop c5 once and for all, and also to gain better control of the dark squares. Like here, I thought that knight b3 would be an idea, but it seems like I'm already worse. Taken b6 and then c5 is coming. I just checked what the computer is saying here. So I was also not sure about this b4 because it also does weaken my queen side a little bit. So I took here, went rook e1, bishop f6, and now I took on f6. I guess I could try something more here, like queen d4. Looks like a much better try as well. Just that I'm saying, okay, if he takes, then at least I can take with the rook on e5. But I guess he can also go rook e8 here, and if takes here, he can now take on e1, and then take on f6. Still, this is probably a better version than compared to the game, but it's also nothing special. So I took here and went queen e3. I still had some hopes with queen b6 to come, but after queen f7, queen b6, rook e8, my king is just too weak, and I cannot take any of these pawns so well, because if queen a5, he can even take on f4. So I played g3, he took rook e8. I tried rook e3 just to try something, because if I take here and take on b7, it's just an immediate draw because of perpetual. So I tried rook e3, he took, went queen f5, queen e8 check, king g7, queen e7 check, and I had this idea that I go here, like, let's just say if black just does nothing, then I have check, and then I'll pick up the pawn on b7 with check. Even this is probably a draw, like now king h6, but at least I have some hopes now. So that was kind of the idea. But he went king f6. I also thought that this should be fine to put the king on h6, but at least I had the idea of queen e7 here, which of course is still a complete draw. Any move probably, like also queen c2, I guess. But I thought queen b1, he can take here, and then take here, and probably I don't have anything better than perpetual. At least I thought this is the minimum I have, but I also had some ideas with king h4 should also be a draw, but at least I have some hopes of getting checkmate with g4 and g5. But I guess something like queen b2 is also a draw here. But yeah, he went to f6. Now I took on h7. I mean, which is also kind of risky if you think about it, because I was also already kind of low on time. But at least I wanted to try something, even if it means that I could risk losing. But of course, it's still a draw. He went queen e4 check, king g1, queen b1 check. I mean, the idea was that now he doesn't have perpetual because of queen e1, and if he goes here, then I can run out to h4. That was kind of the idea. And another trick which I thought he might have missed was if he gives perpetual like this, queen f5, king h4, and now he goes for g5, which at first looks like it's winning the queen, but I can take with check. And then all of a sudden I'm a pawn up. But he found the best way, which is just to take on b2, and now he just went queen e2, which is probably the most accurate way. I mean, I was also thinking about b5, which probably at this point he's probably not risking anything anymore because his pawns are much faster than mine. So probably I would even have to be a little bit careful here. But it's still a draw. He went queen e2, queen h8, and now I decided to repeat because there's nothing left for me to try. I mean, his threat is already to go queen h5 when the pawn endgame would be lost, like even like something like, well, what am I even saying? He can just take on h2. But something when he gets queen h5, like just as an example, this is always lost for me because he's simply promoting his queenside pawns. So yeah, again, quite a disappointing result. Basically not to get anything out with the white pieces against... I mean, he is a strong player, don't get me wrong, 2300 international master. But yeah, usually I would think, at least hope that I would win more quite easily in most cases. But yeah, simply this tournament is not going my way. And yeah, that's just how it is. So tomorrow is the last round, round 11, and I'm hoping to at least score one more win tomorrow, probably with the black pieces, and yeah, then just finish the tournament and try and forget about it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's recap, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I hope you found value in today's analysis, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.